Congressman Chuck Edwards represents nearly all of western North Carolina. Because of that, the work of he and his staff has taken on a whole new focus since Helene.
We've done a complete about face. We've been very focused on the district in getting our citizens in safe shelter and getting our businesses reopened and getting infrastructure right here in western North Carolina reestablished with communications, roads, broadband, water, sewer. We've become much more district-centric.
At what point did it become clear to you that there were issues with FEMA's response here in western North Carolina?
Almost immediately. For example, the storm, for all practical purposes, was over at 10 a.m. on September the 27th. Every county that was declared a national disaster area was clamoring for water. Many did not have electricity. They felt they could be okay without electricity. And so I was on the phone immediately with officials in Raleigh and DC trying to get water here. It took 4 days to see the first real visible evidence that FEMA was here. So immediately we began to recognize that the response just was not what we would have hoped.
That is why Congressman Edwards and his staff put together this report to the president, a 60-plus page packet on what is needed in western North Carolina to advance the recovery from Hurricane Helene. It contains a total of 17 recommendations for the White House and Congress as a whole to act on. It's a dense, long report. What's your methodology? How did you determine what to suggest to the president?
Well, we listened to constituents. We observed what was taking place in the district. We listened to the leaders in the counties, the emergency service personnel, the county managers, the county commissioners, the city councils, every local government that was involved, gathered their feedback, went to Washington, D.C. and tried to unleash the bureaucracy, and where we were continuing to have trouble, we added a provision to our report as a suggestion to the president on what we needed to rebuild.
If you had to rank these, obviously there's an order already in the packet, but if you had to rank these, is there one you want to see addressed first by either Congress or by the executive branch?
I think first we need to accelerate the payments of the monies that are in the hands of federal bureaucracy right now, to get it into the hands of the people that need it. I'm talking about USDA, I'm talking about SBA, I'm talking about HUD, I'm talking about FEMA. There's quite a bit of money out there that I took the lead on to appropriate in the disaster relief bill we passed on December 20th. Now we've got to get it out of the hands of the bureaucracy into the hands of the people that need it. That's where it begins. There are a lot of people out there that need, there are a lot of businesses out there whose future is uncertain. There are a lot of roads and bridges that are still cut off from neighborhoods and private properties. There's still I-40 out there that needs to be fully open. Those are among the top priorities.
Red tape and bureaucracy are almost synonymous with the federal government. And that being said, people always talk about it. Is it possible, you think, to make those fixes in time for a somewhat speedy recovery per se?
Well, my report to the president really is in two sections. The first section is addressing exactly what he asked me to do, and that's to make recommendations on what we had to do to accelerate the recovery here in western North Carolina. The second part is how to rebuild FEMA, how to restructure a program that will better serve the folks in the district of the next natural disaster. Many of those things will not have an effect in that second section on western North Carolina, but it incorporates many of the things that we've learned, that we've gone through, that we recognize need to take place in Washington, D.C.
Back in January, you and the president suggested the idea of two possible ideas of maybe even doing away with FEMA. You haven't gone that far yet, if I'm not mistaken. Why not go that far?
Well, it's a difficult time right now with Western North Carolina being in the middle of a recovery to say let's evaporate FEMA because we very much need them to help us rebuild from this disaster. But there's no question FEMA needs to be reorganized, downsized, restructured, and more of the authority and responsibility needs to be passed on to the states, because what we've found here in Western North Carolina is that the state of North Carolina and FEMA are blaming one another. If you remove one of those two entities, it becomes very clear who's responsible. I think the folks that are most close to the people they serve should be responsible. I believe that North Carolina knows the needs of the citizens of North Carolina far better than a bunch of bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. So yeah, I propose some serious restructuring.
What's been the reception from the White House and from members of Congress? Because there are some talks of bills being passed in this report. What's the reception there?
The members of Congress, my friends, have been extremely supportive. Many of them have come to the district to visit me, to visit the folks here in Western North Carolina. And once they realize what we're facing here, they immediately become very sensitive, very empathetic, and very willing to do whatever is necessary to help us rebuild.
You have some 7-day deadlines in there for the White House to encourage the passage of a bill. With that being said, have they met those deadlines?
We've not met the deadlines yet. There are no bill in Washington, D.C. is going to move quickly, but I've got a number of bills that I've introduced that I'd love the White House to get behind and encourage House leadership and members of Congress to get behind too, and get those across the House floor.
So as a whole, for all these recommendations, is this a multi-year thing for some of these, or is it just a few months? What is your, if you had a dream, if you had a goal, what is your timeline to get these things all accomplished?
Sooner rather than later.
It's pretty broad.
I would hope that we would get these recommendations implemented inside of just a few months. So many folks have visited here from the district, from Congress, that have also experienced natural disasters, and as they look around, they say, Chuck, this is going to take a long time. This is going to take 3, maybe 5 years. I refuse to accept that in this day and time, with the resources that we have, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to rebuild Western North Carolina. I think we can do much better than that. I think we owe it to our citizens to do much better.
You had previously said that almost $1 billion, I think it was $945 million, has been sent out by the feds to Western North Carolina. What has been done well there? You mentioned getting that money out has been kind of slow. So what has been going right recently?
It's a mixed bag. What has been going right? And first of all, I have to credit the folks at NOAA and the National Weather Service for their service here in Western North Carolina. Those organizations saved tens of thousands of lives because they saw Helene was coming. They knew how catastrophic it was going to be. They put out the warning signs, and as a result, they saved tens of thousands of lives. So first of all, that went right. The next thing that went right is it only took a few hours after Helene hit to get emergency recovery teams and rescue teams in from all over the country. So I credit FEMA for that. Casework and handling applications for folks that have been devastated by FEMA is a mixed bag. We have some folks that have been very complimentary. We have some folks that have dealt with other people inside of FEMA and hit the red tape and the bureaucracy that's involved. So that individual assistance is a mixed bag. Some of it's gone really well. I credit the folks at FEMA, Cameron Hamilton, the new director or acting director of FEMA. He sent FEMA caseworkers right here to this office. They're in the room next door. assisting my team in the almost 1,200 cases that we've taken in from individuals right now that are asking for assistance with FEMA. Those are some of the things that have gone right, but it's a mixed bag.
There was that recent denial of a funding extension, 100% match funding extension for Western North Carolina. Obviously, you initially supported it. It has been denied, the 100% match. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I'm really excited that we got the 6-month extension in the first place of 180 days. Everyone knew from day one that the 100% match for removal of debris would expire at the end of 6 months. It was a Hail Mary to say, hey, let's consider extending this another 180 days. I knew it was a Hail Mary at the time, but if you don't ask, the answer is always no. I wasn't surprised with the answer, but I am grateful, and the thing that most people don't understand is the match is 90%, where under normal circumstances it would be 75%, and so I consider it a success that we maintained the 90% match.
How long does that last, that 90-10 match?
I believe the 90 is for the duration of the storm.
Gotcha. Duration of the recovery from
or
the
the
storm.
recovery portion.
Gotcha. The governor has mentioned the idea of filing an appeal to possibly get that 100%. Would you support that appeal?
Well, of course, I'd like to see North Carolina get more resources. I've personally met with senior officials in the White House. I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think it's a realistic request. And so I've been spending my time on the elements in the report, talking to senior White House officials, looking for other ways that we can accelerate the recovery here in Western North Carolina and supplement the cost.
Governor Stein said just yesterday that he believes the tariff announcements has hampered recovery in Western North Carolina. It's hurt small businesses trying to bounce back from Helene. What's your response to that?
I think that's purely a political statement. I don't think that he could support that at all. Tariffs have only been announced now in practicality for a couple of weeks. That impact has not yet reached the pockets of small businesses. I think.
You don't think it will?
I think that time will tell. I think that we owe it to the president to give him the opportunity to deliver on his promise to the American people to strengthen our economy through the use of tariffs. How long that should take, I don't know. I know that the temperament of the folks here in Western North Carolina is very short. We want to see results, and we want to see them quicker. And given the situation that we're in, quite frankly, we need to see something for the implementation of those tariffs.
You know, so often when storms hit, even major storms, they eventually fall out of the news cycle, which causes folks who don't live nearby to forget about it. What's your message to those who might live further away about why this recovery is so important and requires attention and help from different levels of the government?
Well, the reason that this storm is not falling out of the public's eye is because I refuse to allow it to fall out of the public's eye. That's why I've spent so many hours putting together the report. That's why I went to the White House and met with senior officials. That's why I'm here talking to you now. I refuse to accept that it's going to take us 3 to 5 years to rebuild. The people here in this district deserve so much better. People in Western North Carolina have been paying their taxes for decades. We've been sending our children, our grandchildren to war to defend this country for decades. We've been using our tax money to rebuild districts around this country for decades. We have funded fires and mudslides in California and tornadoes in the Midwest and other hurricanes in the South, and we've asked for very little in return. Right now, it's Western North Carolina's time, and I intend to keep the spotlight on this recovery until we have recovered.
After a 2-week break, Edwards returns to Washington on Monday. He can't place a firm deadline for his objectives outlined in the report, but says the recovery here in western North Carolina can and needs to be sped up. Reporting in Henderson County, I'm Andy Weber, Queen City News.